Hi guys, very good evening to you. This is the video number 217, and in this video I'm going to talk about the for next loop part 2. This is going to be the part 2, and in the part 1, which was the video number 216, I have talked about that where and how you actually use the for next loop, right? So if you need the understanding on that video, then just go there, click on my playlist, and under the playlist you will have to see that where is the the category called VBA loops. So just scroll it down, and you would see somewhere here. Yeah, so this is the basically the Excel VBA loops example. So when you click on that playlist, you would find here around 11 videos, and this is the video number 216. If you don't know anything about this for next loop, how we use it and where actually we use it in Excel VBA when we program the things, this video is for you, right? And this is the video number 217, and in an attempt to make you awesome on the loops part, this is going to be the part 2. So here in this example, I'm going to tell you about that how you can actually form this kind of a loop. So by doing this example, not only we are going to again revise the basics of our for next loop, but also we are going to cover a new example. So in this you will have a more basically the more examples we can have in our videos, the more understanding you will have on these for loops. So that is why I'm just going to upload this video, and so let's go ahead and let's go to the developer tab and let's hit on the Visual Basic. And for those who are watching my channel for the first time, let me tell you that we have already uploaded 216 amazing videos on Excel and Excel VBA, MS Access and MS Access VBA. You can be a part of this awesome all the videos. I mean, you can be a part of this channel. Just subscribe to the channel and you can watch all those videos. I have already shared that how exactly you need to go. These are all the basically the playlist which I have created, right? So these are all the categories based on the Excel or Excel VBA or Access. Everything is there, so you just need to click there and you can find all the different videos with the different examples under that particular subject line. All right, so let's go ahead and let's try to create this kind of the loop. So the first thing is, because this is going to be a video on the for next, so we're going to first of all see that how we actually going to write the for next loop, right? So I'm just going to write here this macro A, and in my previous video I have talked about that what is basically the structure of this for next loop. So basically the for structure, the for next loop, we write like this. You write forward, and then you write a variable, any variable you want to write, and then you define it how many times you need to run the loop. So for example, if we need to run this loop 10 times, then this is how you define for variable 1 equals to 10, and then you write here next, right? So this is the VBA syntax, where you write for and then variable. It could be anything, it could be A, B, C, D, I, J, K, L, whatever you want to declare, and then 1 to 10, this goes as it is. If you want to run this loop 10 times, then you will have to write 1 to 10. If you want to run this loop 2 times, then you will have to run 1 to 2, right? And this is the next word comes, and here you write the code which is going to be repeated 10 times, right? So why do we actually use the loop? Obviously to shorten our work. Whenever you have to use the code again and again, so instead of using it, instead of writing, copy and pasting it again and again, and every time it runs, it actually captures a different value, we actually use these loops, right? So this is what exactly I'm going to do. So here I'm going to declare my variable, and let's say we want to run it 10 times because I want the value 10 times to be published. So I'll just let me just backspace it. This has to be written in the one line like this, and then you're going to write here next. Okay, and so now what is your variable? Basically how you're going to declare the variable. Don't forget to write here equals to. Equals to is also important for this variable equals to 1 to 10. This is basically the structure. This is how the loop works, right? Now you see that if we need these values like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you look at the first part is that this loop is supposed to run 10 times, and the second part is every time the row is changing, row is getting incremented, and at the same time the column is also incremented. If you see, I'm on the column A, and then I'm on the column B, and then I'm on the column C, and then I'm on the column D. So what is happening, the columns are also incrementing and the rows are also incrementing, right? So the first part is that the loop is supposed to run. Let me just write it here. So the loop should run 10 times. That's the first thing. What is the next thing? The next thing is the value should start with 1 and end at 10 with a difference of 1, right? With a difference of 1, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last thing, which is very important, is that row and column are incrementing by 1. So these are all the things we need to take care of in this code, and this is where exactly we are going to write our code. VBA code goes here. So this is basically the for next loop. This is how you write the for next loop, right? So this keeps on running 10 times, right? And 10 times what exactly we need, that's all up to us. So let's start this. Let's try to get all these values one by one. Let me just delete this, and now we are going to run this. Let me just give it a yellow color. All right, so here, here, and here, diagonally we are going to run all these values. So the first thing is that I want to publish this value actually in the A1. So what I'm going to do is, in the last video also we have used this example. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to declare my two variables. One is the column number and the row number. Value equals to, it should be equals to, let's say 1. Okay. Now what is another thing? Because this is not anything, you can change it to I, j, k, whatever you want. So I'm going to keep it I, because this is going to be my variable. So dim I as long. Now dim I as long means that this I is going to hold the values which actually a long can hold. You can go ahead and watch my videos on the data types, right? So long means it can hold really a big value. Okay, so now this loop is going to run 10 times. That's first thing, because we are saying that I should run 1 to 10, which means that from the 1 it is going to run, and it is going to pick up the values one by one. And while it is on this code, what should it do? It is going to print the number which is called 1 in the cell called A1, which has a row number 1 and column number 1. So obviously we will have to declare these variables as well. So let me declare them in one row like this. All right, now row number should start with the 1, we know that, and again you can write using this semicolon as well, colon as well, I beg your pardon. It's actually not a semicolon, it's a colon. Just when you press this semicolon on the same key, when you use the combination with the shift, this is what you can use, right? It's just to the left of your enter key. So column number should also be going to 1. This is what we exactly going to do. So now both of the row number and the column number variables are going to hold the value called 1. So let's just go ahead and run this. Variable not defined. So which variable I haven't defined? I think there is a mistake, which is it should be a colnum. All right, now let us start the code. I'm going to press F8. F8 is the shortcut key which we use to run the code step by step. So now you can see that we have got the value here, row number 1 and column number 1, and I is also going to hold the value 1 very soon. The moment I execute this line, right now it is showing 0. So let's go ahead, and this is the first time the loop is running, right? So I got this value as 1, and we have already got this row number 1 and column number 1, right? So this is going to print in the row number 1, column number 1 a value called 1, and we got the value here, right? But the problem is, the next time when this loop is going to run, when you're going to see this value 2, which means that the loop is going to run second time, you don't see any changes here. It is still actually going to be row number 1 and column number 1, which means that it keeps on printing the value here again and again, right? So you will not see any difference, because it is going to overwrite every time it runs, right? So there's nothing we are going to see here. So that's really a poor programming. So what we need to do is, we need to do two things. First of all, this 1 should not remain 1 always. It should also increment by 2, and so on. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to declare one variable called, let's say, val, or I can declare it my val. Okay, my value, let's say, and let's declare this on the top again, my underscore val, my value as long. Okay, and we're going to start this with the 1 again. So I'm going to write here colon and my underscore value equals to 1. So this is what we are going to start. Now you see that the next important step is that the moment it publishes, it prints the value called 1. The next time the loop is going to run, obviously it should be incremented by 1, because we don't want to keep the 1 everywhere. So this is how we write. So we're going to increment the my value with 1, and this is how we write. Not only this, you're also supposed to move this row number by 1 and column number by 1, because then it is going to be on the B2 and then C2 and so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to add row number 1 plus 1, and then I'm going to add here the column number equals to column number plus 1. So this will do what? This will increment the column number 1 and row number 1 by 1. So let's have a look on this. Let me just run this code again. So there we go. So the first thing which I would like to see here is that you see that on the row number 1 and the column number 1, the value which I'm going to see here is going to be 1, which you already, which is already there, so we don't see any changes. But if I would have deleted it and if I would have run this again, then you would have seen here 1. So anyways, we are going to run this code again and we will see. So now my value is incremented by 1, so you can see that my value is now 2, and similarly we have incremented the row number, and similarly we have incremented the column number as well. So the next time when the loop is going to run, you see that this is the second time, this is the second time we are running this loop. But in this time what will happen, this my value which we have already incremented before we jump onto this next line using this my underscore val equals to my underscore val plus 1, the value is now going to be 2, and this value 2 is we are going to publish here in the row number 2 and the column number 2. So obviously row number 2 and the column number 2 is going to be your B2. So the moment you press F8, you see that you get the value here 2, right? Now again we are going to increment this my val, and it is now, you can see it's 3, and again the row number is again incremented by 1 and the column number is incremented by 1. So in this way you would see that we are now going to publish all these values one by one. So this loop keeps on running until we are through with this I as 10, right? So you keep on pressing this F8 and you can see here that all the values are getting printed, and the moment I is going to run the 10 times, so one more time we need to run it. Now this is I is going to be 10, so there we go. Now this is the last time, and as expected you see that the code is finished, right? So you just press enter, and in this way you can have a look that this is going to basically going to print all the numbers diagonally, right? So this is also kind of a question which in your VBA interviews also your interviewer can ask you. They can give you particular types of loop patterns, and they can ask you that can you make these kind of a the patterns, the numbers, right, how they can, in what particular pattern they can be displayed. Now if I let's say run this loop only 5 times, then what is going to happen. Let me just quickly hit on this. So we will have 1 2 3 4 5 diagonally, right? So as you expected, we got there the values as 1 2 3 and 4 and 5, right? So in this way you can actually declare, you can make these kind of a loops, right? So this was the second example on the for next loop, and the previous video also we have talked about it. I hope you have enjoyed this series which I have recently started, so that you can have the good understanding on all the examples. Now if you go ahead and watch all these videos where we have talked about the really advanced VBA stuff, right, then definitely you would like to watch first these videos 216 and 217, because this is going to clear a lot of concept, right? So once again I request you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that, and all these 217 amazing videos are for you. So have a very happy learning, and I'll promise I will be back with some more exciting stuff very soon. Thank you so much guys. Bye bye.